Hello everyone, welcome to Global Government News. This is part 2 of this news bulletin. Today is Friday, December 17th, 2010, and I'm Darko. New listeners, please visit my website, www.ggnonline.com, ggnonline.com. We finished up with this article on just the recent weather and then this Cancún summit and basically whatever the fraud was that they were trying to get away with, creating some kind of green fund. And we got to this one from the Japan Times saying cabinet okays corporate tax cut, carbon levy, overall burden on individuals will rise if they approve this reform plan. So we'll just continue off with this article and we'll move on into the eugenics section. And it says here that the tax reform plans proposed by the Tax Commission and adopted by the Cabinet include environmental tax on carbon emissions to fight global warming, as well as a cut in aviation fuel tax. This is an interesting article as we segue into eugenics, which environmentalism pretty much covers. Climate change. Human numbers don't add up. The best way to cut emissions is to have fewer babies, but you won't find that in the Cancún Bulletin or any politician's vision. So the link will be posted. I'm going to keep moving on here. You can check out Peter Preston and his argument for having fewer babies in order to combat climate change. And this next one up here is Russia's chic new uniforms sends soldiers to the hospital. Russia's sharp new military uniforms created by a top fashion designer landed hundreds in the hospital after proving too thin to withstand the ferocious winter cold, a state daily said Wednesday. And it said 60 to 250 servicemen were laid up with everything from the flu to pneumonia as Arctic chills swept through the country's northern reaches. It must be that global warming. Gunman kills 4 in Spain. A 57-year-old man has gunned down a father and son and 2 bank employees in a Girona province in northeastern Spain. The man armed with a shotgun or a rifle walked into a bar in the town of Olot, north of Barcelona, and fired at the father and son, who were both construction workers. Said later the man drove the car to a local bank office and killed 2 staff members, a man and a woman. And when you go down here, so the police said they had no information about the man's possible motives for the murders. Olot Mayor Louis Secres, however, told local media that the financial problems were seemingly behind the killings. So this is interesting because this is similar to the individual who was in his 50s here in Florida. I believe it was the Florida school board that went in there, shot up the place and put the V for Vendetta symbol up there and that. But basically what it came down to, when you listen to what the individual was saying, he was basically saying that bankers and the ruling elite run everything, and that it's the economy that's really killing them. So same thing. I'm sure you're going to see an increase in that. Next one up: 13 injured in Japan knife rampage. This is kind of an increasing pattern that's going on with these knife rampage. It's pretty much started in China, where younger individuals, actually, that's what makes it even more weird, like 20-year-olds going into preschools and hacking up preschooler children with a knife. That's happened on a couple different occasions. And I just covered an article recently about preschoolers and someone going in there and basically trying to knife them up too. So this is 13 injured in Japan knife rampage. An unemployed man in Japan has been arrested after stabbing 13 people in a city northeast of Japan, the Japanese capital, Tokyo. The 27-year-old Yuta Sato boarded buses and started to attack passengers with a knife on Friday. The suspect got onto the buses and wielded a knife and slashed passengers in there. AFP quoted the police spokesman as saying, quote, "We can say at this moment that at least 13 people were wounded." They said most of the victims were minors and high school students, so there you go. A local man managed to subdue the Sato before he was taken away by police for attempted murder. The incident has evoked chilling memories of an attack in central Tokyo 2 years ago. In that episode, a man rammed a truck into a crowd of people and started to randomly stab people. So a lot of mental issues going on here, dude. This is, to me, it's pretty much just symbolic of our society. And to me, like I was thinking about it earlier, the government has the power to legislate social and economic policy. Therefore, society will reflect the government, and in that, the family in itself will reflect government policy. So the family reflects government policy, therefore society reflects the government. And so when you see families and individuals of society doing acts like this, that is a reflection of society, that is a reflection of the family. So this is going on in families all throughout the world. And it's something that the government is doing. And that's pretty much what I've come up with. It's those three key things. That's what basically shapes society. The family and government. Of course, I don't want to go too far into it. I want to keep moving here, but I have my own theories. FDA panel reviews health safety of mercury amalgam fillings. Opponents of dental mercury want restrictions, if not a ban. And it's like, oh, I don't want a ban. I don't like bans. I don't like the sound of banning anything. I just think that they should have their asses sued for basically negligence. They knew it was 50% mercury. I've seen what mercury does, pictures of it, actual images from universities, doing research showing the little brain neurons in your brain literally shrinking as the mercury is introduced to the brain neurons. So this is something that I believe they've known for a long time. That's why they use it as a preservative in vaccines. And so, like I said, no, I don't want anything to be banned. Just like I don't want menthol cigarettes to be banned. People have the right to do whatever the hell they want, and whatever they want to put in their body is their own personal business. Nobody should be able to ban anything. Just sue them. Have a class action lawsuit for all the people that were affected by these mercury fillings. And they told us they were safe the whole time. Federal Advisory Panel is trying to decide whether the U.S. and Drug Administration relied on adequate science. Oh, let's see. Are they relying on adequate science for global warming? No, they don't give a shit. Now they're going to keep pushing forward along with your president. Your president, who wasn't even an American citizen, basically pushing, even though the American people don't want it and there was no real accord signed or agreement signed in the past 5 years as far as carbon tax being passed for climate change, your president still overrided that and allowed the EPA to declare CO2 a toxic substance. So you're being sold down the river by these people that supposedly represent you. And it said on adequate science when it determined last year that mercury amalgam can safely be used to fill cavities in healthy people. At the time, the FDA didn't find evidence that dental mercury hurts developing fetuses, young children, and those more sensitive to its potential health effects. The mercury in amalgam fillings, called elemental mercury, releases small amounts of mercury vapor, a substance that at high levels can be toxic to the brain and kidneys. There you go. Vapor levels are highest right after the fillings have been placed in the tooth, and it says here it's a 50-50 mixture of liquid mercury and powdered metal alloy. So like everything else, guys, it's a propaganda piece. You have this and you think that, oh, they're on your side, the media's on your side, they're reporting. No, they're covering an issue because they know it's eventually going to be covered by alternative media. So they have to go on like the preemptive attack and cover this issue so that they can whitewash it. And here comes the whitewashing. You ready? Are you ready? And I'm not even going to get to the 3 other pages, but here you go. It says even in adults, the amalgam fillings has been found to be far below the lowest levels associated with harm, says the FDA. It says the document says mercury levels in breast milk also fall below the considered safe by the EPA. So you got the EPA, I trust them too. The CDC, the vaccine people, I trust them. The World Health Organization. Now I really trust this evidence. Wow, now that's it. That's all I need to see. Those all those agencies and departments. However, these stupid little Americans with their skepticism still worry about dental mercury exposure, and some have sought out mercury-free dentists who advise them to have their amalgam fillings removed and replaced with other types of fillings. Some mercury amalgam opponents fear that having the heavy metal in the mouth is related to higher rates of autism and behavioral problems in children, although there hasn't been proof it causes neurological injury in youngsters. So before I puke all over my microphone, I think I'm going to move on. FDA considering safety of mercury fillings, but panel may be rigged from the start. Natural News, mercury fillings are one of the greatest scams in history of dentistry, of course, besides fluoride, right? They're intentionally and misleadingly named silver fillings so that people don't realize They're made of mercury. And when installed in the teeth, they release mercury vapor every time a person chews on them. See video link below. Mercury vapor is then inhaled and absorbed into the body, where it can cause neurological disorders, headaches, fatigue, sickness, and may even be related to autism in children. So the link will be posted in the video's description, and you can check out the rest of this article. The next one up here is Primetime TV objectifies and fetishes underage girls, study says. Long gone are the days when Marcia Brady's sweet smile and Winnie Cooper's brains and beauty were how television represented teenage girls. Yeah, dude, that's crazy. I forgot about that, the Wonder Years. According to a new study conducted by the Parents Television Council, Hollywood is shockingly obsessed with sexualizing teen girls to the point where underage female characters are shown participating in even higher percentage of sexual situations than their adult counterparts, 47% to 29% respectively. And says here, the results from this report show Tinseltown's eagerness to not only objectify and fetishize young girls, but to sexualize them in such a way that real teens are led to believe their sole value comes from their sexuality. That's very interesting, because I've already talked about this with Lady Gaga or Madonna. It is an agenda. I hate to say this, but it is. There is a reason, there is a method to this madness, and that is they want to break bonds in relationships. They don't like relationships. The New World Order doesn't like a society of slaves with bonds and like a tribe and bonds and relationships, long-term sexual relationships. They want them to be just quick one-night stands, wear a condom, have fun, take your drugs, and keep moving forward. Don't look back, don't look around, keep your blinders on, and have fun, like I said. So it's just kind of funny, because that's how it is now. Like with the Winnie Cooper character, she was smart, right? And, that's what, Fred Savage, whatever, the dude's character, he was always obsessed with her, whatever. And nowadays, the young male has to, or doesn't have to, but what they see in the culture industry, mostly the media, is that the girl that you want is this girl. And a lot of times they have 0 brain cells. So they're all looks, no brains. And you'll find a lot of them at the checkout counters. And if you try offering them cash, they don't even know how to count, because they're so used to swiping cards. I'm telling you, man, the society is not only morally bankrupt, but there's not too much upstairs either. And it's all about teaching young women to use their sexuality, to use sex as a weapon, to get their empowerment, to be empowered, not for being a woman, for being respectable, and for having intelligence, but for their basically for their sexuality, for their looks, for their purely materialistic physical looks. That's it. That's very shallow. So that's why, for me, it is hard for me to find a good girl out there. Ex-TSA worker faces child porn charges. Thousands of images, video found on man's computer, DA says, and this was only a matter of time, right? A former TSA employee was arraigned on child pornography charges, Middlesex District Attorney said on Thursday. I got to keep moving because I want to finish up all these articles. Scientist alleges religious discrimination in Kentucky. This is interesting. An astronomer argues that his Christian faith and his peers believe that he is an evolution skeptic kept him from getting a prestigious job as the director of a new student observatory at the University of Kentucky. So, the scientific elite don't like people that still believe in some kind of creators or God particles or anything like that. Kosovo militia may have stolen prisoners' organs. Wow, that's really nice. And we're going to move on here, and it says here, Moldavians want Israeli surgeons out. And why? Because they're accusing them for organ harvesting. LA public schools open doors to corporate brand identity. So now a public school says they're going to announce a plan to solicit corporate sponsorship to help grow their budgets and retain staff. And we are living in the Fourth Reich, folks. Believe that. Drugs used in Oklahoma execution could gain wider use. U.S. uses animal drug in lethal ejection. C-section birth rate skyrockets in U.S. Next one up, drug side effects left woman blind and scarred. Pfizer pulls hypertension drug. TV watching is bad for babies' brains, and they told us it didn't. Britain tops EU obesity league. U.S. sues BP over Gulf disaster, and Lejeune Marine admits killing his own cops. It's GGN, and I'm Darko.